from our perspective, looks at the lives and behaviors of millennials, Generation Z, and the changes that are happening in our 21st century and the innovators that are making it happen. We will explore trends, technology, music, fashion, social media, business, science, the arts, faith, and lifestyle. So come join us on Comcast, Verizon, and online. What do you see when you see me? My disability, my weight, my physical appearance, not meeting your standard of beauty. What do you see when you see me? Shamed for being overweight? Does my self-esteem rely on what you think of me? My confidence, respect, morale, self-worth should not depend on the voices of those outside of me. Even those who know me may say things that hurt, that may be judgmental. When I look in the mirror, I see the words, I am beautiful. Is my self-esteem wrapped up in how others see me? What do you see when you see me? Do you see me at all? Being bullied by my peers? What do you see?
And I'm 33 years old. I got burnt from a candle when I was 11 months old, and by the time my mom found me, it was a 70-degree Celsius fire. By the time she picked me up from the bed, my right hand literally stayed behind. And from the age of 11 months until I was around 15 years, I've had 104 surgeries just to make me look like this, honey. Yes. I was 9 years old, and a fellow learner of mine said to me that, you're so burnt, you look like a franchise meat. It really just touched me really deep. Then it started to trend to a point where I then started having an extremely low self-esteem. I just felt like, I'm a ghost, I don't belong, and, I don't want to be here, can I just die? I drank 300 pills. A couple of hours later, katsoga on the very same bed. No phone, no pain, no nothing. I was so annoyed. My God said to me that you have a purpose, and your purpose is hope and healing. But also more than that, you're important, you're beautiful. And that's where I found my self-worth from. I would say to the young me, there was a candle that tried to burn you. That candle tried to ruin you. That candle tried to kill you. But that very same candle lives within you. And that candle is shining bright. So allow it to shine bright. Then light other people's lives.
色が白い人たちの中で一人ポツンとその色が黒い人種が混じってるっていうことで、ハンバーグだったりコロッケだったり、たまにはうんこって言われたり、なんでこんなに黒いの、黒すぎじゃないとかって言われることもあったし、いつも泣いて家に帰ってって登下校一人で、お母さんにあんま心配かけたくないんで、玄関入ったらその涙を拭って玄関入ってちょっと明るく家の中に入ってたんですけど、どうやったらその 色白くなれるんだろう、髪の毛がまっすぐになるんだろうっていうふうに、まあいつも考えてましたね。その黒人だったり自分が一番傷つく言葉を投げかけられないように人と接する。だから相手をなるべく怒らせないだったり、人に迷惑をかけないように生きるだったり、まあそういう風に変わってきました。心の本音は語れてなかったと思います。サッカーの時だけ、まあ本当の自分になれる、自分を本当に出せるっていう感覚でしたね。もうすべてのその学校であった嫌なことだったり、色のことも忘れられるし、全然別の自分ですね。負けず嫌いの自分を一番出せる世界ですね。で、今だったら、お前はもうそのままありのままの自分でいいんだよ。もう変えられない現実を受け入れて、自分を好きになって変えれる未来だけにもう突っ走って一生懸命頑張れよっていう風に言いたいですかね。
We are judged so quickly by appearances. Few take time to know us, to understand who we are and where we come from. We can feel invisible.
Michelle, and this is my story. So when I was 16, I was pretty wild. My mom wasn't home a lot, and I was an only child, so I would party with friends and hang out of the house all hours of the night. And one night I had met this guy, and he was 29 when I met him, and I mean, he was great. All the girls were jealous. My own friends were kind of mad that he had been so interested in me, but he was able to give me experiences. I mean, other guys my age couldn't. He would take me out all the time. We'd go to expensive restaurants. He'd buy me these gifts, and it was really great. But he would always remind me of all the things that he would do for me. So if there was any time where I felt like I wasn't hanging out with my own friends the same way that I was with him, he would say, "Oh, but I got you this necklace, so don't you think you should spend the time with me?" And I just felt so guilty. I kind of stopped hanging around my friends as much. But it was great because he was there for me. I mean, he would pick me up and take me to school, pick me up from school. And when I had said that I'd felt kind of lonely in my house, he let me come stay with him. So I spent most of that year in his house. And I remember I'd gone to school and I'd seen some of my friends whispering and I was mad about it, and came back and I told him, and he'd said that he'd heard that they were saying really nasty things about me around town, that I was a gold digger and that I was ugly and stupid for hanging out with him. And he told me they were jealous. So after that, I really stopped talking and hanging out with them and spent even more time with him. And I mean, we were closer than I had been to anyone. I didn't feel as alone as I had normally felt. And so we started sleeping together. I didn't think anything of it. I mean, I hadn't been with anybody, and he made me feel so safe. And he would buy me things anytime I felt bad about it, or if I felt like I needed to talk to someone, he would be there. I mean, he was just everything. And a couple months down the line, I realized one night that I hadn't had my period in a while, and found out I was pregnant. And he was so pissed. He was so mad at me, and he was throwing my stuff in the trash and hitting the wall and telling me that I wasn't careful and I didn't appreciate all the things that he had done for me, because I was excited about it and I wanted to keep this child, and he didn't. So he told me that he would leave me if I kept it. I went home that night and my mom was there, and I told her, and I thought she'd be mad at me, but she wasn't mad at me, and she talked me through it. And I mean, I kept him. My son is 2 now. One day Eric tried to come back and tell me how sorry he was, but my mom called the cops, and he was never to be seen again. She told me that I wasn't alone and that I didn't have to depend on anyone else. She'd always be there for me. I would tell my younger self that you're not as alone as you think you are. No one is perfect, so don't let one moment of emptiness or sadness dictate what the rest of your life may be. Don't let anyone sell you the idea that you can be perfectly happy all the time. It's okay to be sad sometimes and happy other times. Self-worth to me is deciding that I have the power and value and importance to express myself however I want without feeling guilty or feeling that it's owed to someone else. It's deciding that I can be what I need to be for myself.
The main aims of our struggle is to fight this false idea that to be Italian, to be accepted as being made in Italy, you must be white.
Stella produced and released a video that questioned the public about Italy's attitudes towards diversity, but it provoked a huge backlash.
Showing the kind of words black or Asian people and people of different religions in Italy hear almost every day. But at that moment, I saw the many doors that had been open to me for 7 years suddenly closing. If you distance yourself from Stella and her demands, we'll publish articles about you in our magazine. These threats came from a major magazine.
Your thoughts? The attitude towards diversity, that anything that was made in Italy, you know,
had to be white.
It had to be white. She also addressed, tried to address this in a humorous way by bringing out this ad. And the ad was, it was trying to say the stereotypes that people make, and what I liked was she put every culture, every race that is not Italian. And just for our audience as well, and we are talking about a group of individuals who are disenfranchised, right? Disenfranchised groups. And she talked about that, and the fact that these top Italian fashion magazine were basically bribing those individuals who were supporting her to tell them, don't support her, and we will give you an ad in our magazine. It's just so much to unpack in that clip. What are your thoughts?
The old forked tongue, the old forked tongue. Stella Jean probably thought that people were sincere. She was surprised when she realized that now that she opened her mouth and actually went there, nobody wants to speak about this, because you don't speak about this in public. God forbid, can't let anyone know that this is going on. You don't hang your dirty laundry in public, So she was surprised that suddenly now, after being the darling, now nobody wants to speak to her. And that is something about knowing the culture of a place.
But do you also think too, when I look at that, I look at it from a perspective of her being brave, in the sense that a lot of times when we have to make change, we have to recognize that the sacrifice of change can also bring a level of damage to us, like you have to prep yourself that you'll get backlash. Some people be like, okay, you know what, I don't need to deal with this, I will just back off.
But no, what I'm saying is not that she should have stopped, because whenever you start to make a change, yes, there are going to be people that come up against you.
Yes.
And you have to have it within your resolve to know that, are you going to continue, or are you going to succumb to all this pressure? Which is why I said she shouldn't have been surprised at the backlash, because she said she was surprised, that people were told not to do business with her. But she lives in a culture where these things are not discussed in public. Right? So, knowing this, gosh, you're the first person of color in 62 years to belong to an institution where we know that in the back rooms there are Black people busy sewing and doing things in the background, but they never to come to the foreground. So be prepared, because as soon as you start doing something, the fight is coming. So be ready to fight, or don't start.
And I think too, in reference to dealing with the surprise, right? I think that would be for any of us, really, if we've never trailblazed in that path before. And I'm saying that to say that, I work around you, you're my friend, and you're a top, because she even said it was a top fashion magazine. The diplomacy, I guess she was expecting that they would even be more diplomatic in how they did it. If you've never did that trail before, that trail before, this will be all new. The second time around, she won't be surprised.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And I think too, no one has done it.
Right.
Did it. Because remember, she's the only one in that fashion council, and she has that, and I guess it's a lifetime thing because
they haven't thrown her out yet.
They haven't thrown her out.
In July, Stella and her team sent a letter to the National Chamber for Italian Fashion outlining 6 proposals. The proposals included equal educational opportunities, a ban on the appropriation of African culture, and the creation of a platform to showcase black talent. Discussions were held, and the directors promised to push for reform. Following this, 5 young black designers were given the opportunity to present their work during the official schedule of Milan Fashion Week in September.
From July to September, there was a real opening up. A change which I can say I'm proud of. Proud of the reaction of the Chamber for Fashion and its president, who decided to listen. We not only presented the cultural reform for fashion, but for the first time, we invited 5 designers who had been trying to break into the fashion industry for years. And we were able to introduce these new faces, new made in Italy talent at Fashion Week. Claudia Giselle, she's brilliant, a young woman with a talent for high fashion. She came and created these sophisticated and exquisitely tailored garments, all while also working as a cleaner, washing the floors. We also had young men like Makodu. Unfortunately, he had to go to France to find a job, but he is incredible. We don't ask for quotas for black people or young people from ethnic minorities in this country. It has to be a question of merit. Merit does not depend on the color of your skin. We must have the courage to let these young people into the workplace and not just use them as an image or exploit them by abusing that image again and again, but integrate them into the workplace. Let them join the decision makers. We must realize that what we think is an exception today will be perfectly normal tomorrow.
You know, I love her summarizing statement. What seems exceptional today could be quite normal tomorrow. You know, and some people fail to see that we live in a world that is constantly moving, and change is constant. As much as we fight it, and as much as we want things to remain the same, change is constant. I love that she has put together, they've come up with a series of things that
Documentation.
That they've
want to achieve.
Brought to the council.
Yes.
And yes, well, based on the fact that the council, she said she found a president that was willing to listen. That's a start.
Yes.
You know, because listening, extremely important. And then acting on what you have heard shows that, you know, there's some hope. You know, so the fact that they were able to bring the 5 designers to the forefront, into the shows. I wonder what that fashion magazine, I wonder how they feel now. Who's gonna get the last laugh?
Right.
They may have some of those very same designers in their pages, otherwise they won't be selling.
Right. And you know what I found was, what I liked was that she said, we're not asking for quotas. We're asking you to bring these people in for merit. And the thing that really broke me when I watched this clip was the young lady who trying to break in for years, you know, and she's mopping floors.
Yes,
And
cleaning
still holding
floors.
on to her dream. I mean, oh my gosh. And the quality, because even for Stella to say the quality and the creativity of her design is remarkable. And then when you put them in the decision-making part as well, they can also assist in helping carry along these changes that are happening because they are on the ground and know what that particular niche is looking for.
Don't turn back. No, don't turn back. Let your feelings lead you on. Let your heart reach out in song. Don't turn back. No, don't react. You have come so far, so strong. Let your heart reach out in song. Carry on. Don't look down. No, don't look down. You have so